John Dowson, and you're watching Profiles. I think you're going to like this one. Today on our show, we're going to be talking to David Howard of the David Howard Music Studio. And you've probably maybe seen him at the corner coffee shop or at one of the venues around town, playing anywhere from classic to Celtic to rock to country, you name it. And David is there. Welcome to the show, David.
Thanks very much.
I've, as an old rock musician from the from the past, I'd seen you a couple of times on various places around town, and I always wanted to have you on and talk. We've had other guitarists on, you know, Ken Percy is in town, and we're really fortunate to have Norbert Kraft, internationally acclaimed classical guitarist, as a guest on the show as well. So we're really pleased to have you here. It kind of rounds out the guitar segment. But you're from Newmarket, right?
Right.
A little background. You're born and raised here?
No, actually I was born in Toronto. And
we're not going to hold that against you.
And then moved up to Newmarket when I was young, and basically spent most of my life in Newmarket.
Now, your father works for the town, doesn't he? He's an employee there at the engineering department.
Town engineer.
But he's also an amateur, I guess you'd call it, a musician. Plays guitar?
Yes, that's correct.
And this is where the interest came from.
Right.
So it wasn't listening to some rock band in the 60s or 70s and saying, I want to play guitar. You had an influence in the family.
Well, when I was
musical family?
When I was growing up, it was a very musical family. My grandmother's an opera singer. My mother's took classical piano for many years. My father was a guitar player, is a guitar player, and he gave me my first couple lessons. And there was always a guitar around the house. And you know, I could always see him pick the guitar up. And I remember since I was about 3 or 4 years of age, always hearing the guitar. And my sister played piano, so always through the house there was music.
Well, your father, does he sing too?
Yes, very nice voice. Yeah. Very
so
nice.
It was one of, like a family kind of sing-along, that kind of thing?
Yes,
well,
actually, right.
Because like in our family, we had something similar. My brother played piano, I played bass, my brother played drums, and we have, you know, the family band, so to speak.
Right, right.
Although we're different age groups, so it was different segments, you know. I want to play rock, someone else wants to play something else.
Right.
But, so that's how you got interested. Now, your father, does he teach as well, does he?
No, he's actually a teacher, registered teacher. He used to teach high school. He also has a degree in engineering, his master's degree. But he just taught me on the side just to get me started. But it doesn't usually work like when you try and teach your son or daughter how to drive a car.
Yeah, okay.
I get a lot of parents that are music teachers that pass their son or daughter on to me to teach because there's that, I guess, conflict of interest. You know, it's hard to teach your offspring, apparently.
Well, I'm sure that's true. My son wanted to take up drums.
Right.
And so I said, okay, if that's you're really that interested, you have to take lessons. But rather than go out and buy a set, you know, I want to find out whether he had some talent. And he certainly did. And so it was, next thing, it was this set, and that's not big enough, Dad, I got to have a bigger one. But it was, the fundamentals are important.
Right.
You have a studio now that's right in Newmarket. What would you say would be guitar? How old would a person be to start something like that? Are there junior guitars that can get their hand around it, or? I
get asked this question a lot. I teach guitar, piano, and voice and bass. Pianists, I can usually start younger, 4 and a half, about the youngest, 5, because the piano, in terms of complexity, as opposed to the guitar, is a much easier instrument when you start out. Whereas the guitar maybe around 7, 8, and with a guitarist we'll start them with a very small scale, half size or 3/4 size guitar.
So there are different sizes of guitars,
right?
And so you have the studio, but did you take lessons yourself when you started, other than your father? He sort of passed you on to some professionals?
Well, I couldn't even tell you from memory how many teachers I've had through the years. My first teacher that taught me classical turned out to be the best. And that was when I was about 11 years of age or 12. And then I graduated from Pickering College, Ontario Scholar, and I went off to York University. And I got in a music program there, and wasn't really what I was interested in. I was more interested in classical at the time, so I went to the Royal Conservatory in Toronto. And I gained silver medal, which is a provincial award for the highest mark in a particular province in a particular year for a particular grade.
For playing guitar.
Right, and classical guitar, and I also achieved first class honors, grade 10 in classical guitar, which is very high standing. I also entered contests in composition. Just looking down here, I'm sorry, I can't remember all the things I've won, but there's quite a bit. The Peel Music Festival, original composition, the Kiwanis, I got a second place, which is very, very prestigious competition. I placed first in a Bach competition in classical guitar at the Kiwanis. Even the Pickering Music Festival, I placed first there.
But these are all listed in your brochure.
Yeah, the
well,
credentials. Right.
But as you grew up in a musical family, were you influenced at all by the school? I mean, when you went to high school, did you get involved in any kind of? Did you play in a band or anything? You know, that kind of thing.
Right. I was in a rock band in high school. I've done blues. One thing I always wanted to do is to get a classical consort together.
A classical what?
Consort. I've never been able to like find another guitar player and a flute player, or cello and violin and guitar, or because I play piano as well. Like
sort of a Baroque type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Just haven't found like running across the people I meet in the music industry now. I think the times are changing. More of the rock, because I love rock music. I love all the alternative. In fact, I like all styles of music. But it seems more like for guitar players into rock or blues, the classical seems more rarefied. So it's hard to find people to play in that style, but I'd love to do that. And I have met people that are classical musicians, but that's something that I would definitely want to do.
Now, well, that might be interesting. So if someone's watching the show now and tuned in and taking a look at the show, they could call you if there's a flute player there.
Right.
Or maybe
right.
celloist,
Right.
cellist rather, and get this type of thing together. I was at a function, I can't remember, a number of years ago, and there were two students there from, I guess, the conservatory or university, and they had a thing called class, classical and jazz, and there was a guitarist, I don't know who he was, and a harpist, and the two of them played, sort of cocktail music background, and it was really interesting. Something like this. Now, would you say, like, if say somebody had a son who wanted to play guitar or was interested in the guitar, and they came to you, but they wanted to play in a rock band at school or something. Now, there's quite a few bands around Newmarket that have gone on. Would you say that it's important for them to learn, like, the basic fundamentals and that kind of thing in order to get into that? I know it's people say, I got to practice and practice, but I want to play in the band. How would you advise someone like that?
Well, what I always tell parents is I really focus on, I'm a very modern music teacher. I have formal training, but everything I do in terms of teaching is based on the students enjoying the lessons, above all, because then they'll just end up quitting. And a music teacher can have a tremendous mark on someone taking lessons. They may make the lesson so bad that they never want to play that instrument again or take music lessons again, or they could be like a mentor and increase their enjoyment and maybe make it a profession or a career. What I would do with the parents is they should start with classical or acoustic. I would say, let them start with electric. That's where their interest lies. That's where their need is. They want to play the electric. So I'm very modern in that sense. They'll get the same training they get on acoustic guitar or classical, but it'll be based around the music that they like and they will want to study. And I've been very, very successful. And you asked me before we started the show today about if I have any budding stars in my studio.
That's right, yeah.
And there's just some very amazing talent in the studio.
There is.
Some amazing kids I work with, and adults, all ages. All ages.
Oh, really?
All ages.
There was, I remember reading or listening to Yitzhak Perlman, the violinist,
yes.
talking to Yehudi Miniman one time. He talked about this practice, and he said, I wanted to play baseball, I wanted to go up with the kids, but my parents kept telling me, I've got to do this. And I hated it. But he said, looking back on it, it was the basis of his particular career as he went on professionally as well. So it is a drag to have to go through these scales and programs of practice, but pays off, right?
Well, what I found is I used to do I did up to 10 hours or 12 hours a day several years ago. That was my peak in terms of practicing, just crazy.
10, 12 hours a day.
Till I went to a physiotherapist, and she said, "You keep doing that, I won't be playing any longer." So I had to bring down the practice time. I was like obsessed with practicing and improving. And I'm sure to contribute to where my skill level is today, but I was never forced to practice. And the moment my parents would see me waning from the lessons and not interested, they knew it was something more than just not wanting to do anymore. There was something behind that. And it could have been, maybe this wasn't music I didn't like, I was studying that didn't interest me. Maybe the teacher wasn't working. But this is what I always focus with a student. You have to be able to read the student very carefully. If they come in and not practicing, I always tell them, like, if you do your scales, the next time we have these big concerts every year in my studio, you'll be able to go up and do a guitar solo or a piano solo or a vocal solo. But if you don't practice scales, you don't practice your technique, you won't be able to do this. It'll always seem difficult. To play a musical instrument is very challenging. It's an art and a science.
I recall when I phoned Norbert to Kraft to talk to him about coming onto the show, and his wife said he's working. I said, "Well, does he have a day job?" She said, "No, he's been playing." And it's up in the morning, 8 o'clock, work all day, have lunch, just and of course he's full time, and it goes to 4 o'clock in the afternoon every day. And he sometimes records here in town in Newmarket as well.
Right.
So, and you not only just play classical, but you're into the Celtic and the blues and different types. So we're going to get a sample of that later on when we have a break, after the break, right?
Okay.
So you brought your guitars with you?
Yeah.
So you have a couple of guitars, and we're going to be talking. You actually sit down, play something. Give us a little background. Okay, so don't go away. We'll be right back, and we'll listen to David actually performing right in our studio. Don't go away.
Did you know that in 1974, for the first time in the history of the village, Mount Albert did not have a town barber? Now you know it.
Right, we're back, and David, you've got your instrument with you. That's the nice thing about guitar; you can carry it around with you rather than the piano, right? Okay, so you're going to play something so we can listen to give you a sample. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is you're going to be playing?
Okay, this first one's called The Grand Overture by Mauro Giuliani. He's an Italian guitarist. It was a contemporary of Fernando Sor. And this is, again, called The Grand Overture. Then I'm going to go into a Bullerias, which is a flamenco piece. So we're going to get a treat today, some classical and flamenco.
All right, and we'll get some blues and
yes,
later.
yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's David Howard. This guitar, is that, what, is that, you said it's a classic guitar, is it
Yes.
different than the, what's called the Spanish guitar, or is this the Spanish guitar?
This is actually by a Toronto guitar maker. His name is William Laskin, also known as Grits. He's also a performer. He's in very high demand right now.
And he made this...
Custom-made guitar.
So, and that's, that has sort of different strings than the other type of guitar you see, or?
Yes, this is actually, this is nylon string.
Oh, I see.
It's very typical for classicals.
And of course, they have these machine pegs now that before, but I mean, I guess 200 years ago, it was just a little peg like the what you would have in a violin, and hope it didn't go out of tune.
Right.
And this would be difficult more to tune, but being a nylon type string.
I think the heat in here
Yeah.
is would fool around with the tuning of the guitar, but it's very nice. The feel of the nylon, it sounds nice to the ear. It's very popular right now.
Okay, what else are you going to play? What's the second number you were going to be playing?
Those were, I put the two together.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, so, but I can play some more if you want me to continue.
So what was it? You had another guitar here you were going to be playing?
Yes, I have a steel string.
Okay, so why don't we take a break and you can open up the case and get that other guitar out.
Sure.
And we'll come back, and that's a different guitar than one we have here.
It's a Martin.
Okay, go away. We'll be right back with David Howard.
Call us and tell us what you think of the show. Phone 895-4889. Visit our website at rogerstelevision.com. Or write to us at 20 Gladman Avenue, Newmarket, Ontario, L3Y 2N2.
Right, we're back, and David, before you have a new guitar now. This is tell us a little bit about the guitar first before we listen to it.
This is a Martin's guitar. It's a Sigma. It's made overseas, but it's basically a Martin guitar, and it's a steel string as opposed to the one I played before, which is nylon. So it has a brighter sound.
Oh, I see. And is this the type of guitar you hear the country western singers playing, that kind of thing?
Pop music, rock, blues is more steel string.
And these are acoustic as opposed to the electric one that some of the kids would be looking in and want to say, hey, how come you... But you teach electric guitar as well.
Right. Al Styles.
So if someone came in to see you to learn, would they bring electric guitar in, or would they go for one of these first?
Well, in my studio, I've got amplifiers, and I've got all the equipment that we could do, simulate a whole band if we wanted. So I have electric guitars in my studio that we would use.
All right, so they they can take this home so they don't drive their parents crazy with the noise, right?
Right.
Okay, so what are we going to hear now? What are you going to be playing?
Okay,
now?
I'm going to start with one called Mediterranean Sundance, and then I'm going to do Midsummer's Dream. If we have some time, some blues.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go. Right. What was that you just finished playing? What was that?
That's called Mediterranean Sundance.
Ah,
It's a Latin jazz piece.
and I noticed that you're tuning the guitar
Right.
to fix it up. What is it you're going to be playing now?
This is called Midsummer's Daydream.
Ah,
And this is more like classical folk style.
all right.
Very beautiful piece.
Well, it's a Midsummer Night Daydream.
Daydream.
All right. Now you have to tune it back up again?
For blues. This is
Okay, we're going to... What type of blues is this? Because there are various types of blues, you know.
This is patterned after the style of Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Vaughan style blues.
Oh,
the
right.
late great Stevie Ray Vaughan, one of my heroes.
Ah, okay.
All right.
And what's the name of this one?
The name escapes me. I think it's called Roadhouse Blues.
But you can kind of make up blues as you go along,
Yeah,
right?
I'm probably going to end up doing half that.
Are you going to sing with this?
No,
It's not a singing
No,
blues
this is more instrumental.
Ah, okay. All right. This is who? Who is that,
This
Stevie?
is, it's no offense to Stevie Wonder fans, a little bit of improvisation in there.
Ah.
But something I threw in at the last
This is a
second.
David Howard original.
Yeah, so David Howard original and pattern after Stevie Wonder.
And you actually composed a few things of yourself as well, right?
Yeah.
And it says here that some of your influences are Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, the American national anthem, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the whole cake, and you put the blue Stars and Stripes, what's the song they say. Okay, so could you play a little something?